Well, Eduardo, if we're talking classic regions, we have to talk about Bordeaux.
Absolutely. Undeniable. One of the biggest producers in the world.
Probably one of the most famous regions in the world, certainly. I mean, for red, for white, for sweet wine as well. Mm-hmm. But of course, we're talking red here today, where this is the 2016 vintage of the Chateau Le Gros Dieu, so St Émilion. And 2016 was a great vintage.
Outstanding, certainly.
I'm excited to taste this with you. But, I mean, we should start with where we are. We're in France, of course, right? We're in southwestern France. Bordeaux is the region, and it surrounds the Gironde estuary. And when we talk about varieties there, we're usually talking about blends.
Absolutely. I mean, it's known, Bordeaux is the king of the mixing of the components. It's like making a recipe where you're putting a little spice, a little heat, a little acid, all these things. So Cabernet driven in the one side, where the other side is more Merlot driven, like this baby.
Yes.
Some of the most iconic wines in the world, Angelou, Cheval Blanc,
right,
Vijac, all these different producers kind of champion the Merlot component, like this one. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's Cabernet, Merlot-driven world.
Yes. And of course, Cabernet on the left bank was known for enjoying the gravelly soils there, right? And on the right bank, more clay and limestone.
Clay, that's the big component. And when you talk to producers worldwide and they find clay in their vineyards, that is a complete direction towards Merlot. And based on this region, that's what it's taught us. Its potential, I mean, it's a very, very important...
And I think, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think, we talk about Cabernet Sauvignon as a variety that doesn't like to have its feet wet, right? So it likes that well-drained, gravelly soil. But I think the clay actually sort of retains a little bit more water. It can slow the ripening of Merlot, which can get riper a little faster, right?
Absolutely.
So it's perfect location for this type of wine. And of course, we talked about Cabernet and Merlot, but in the region, there are other varieties like Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Malbec that you might find in a glass of red wine. And there's some other varieties as well, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. But this in the glass, I think I get a lot of the sort of classic Bordeaux varieties, or the classic aromas I get from the Bordeaux varieties, like, which for me is very dark fruited, like black cherry, black currant,
preserve. There's a little touch of like this balsamic note that's very like cozy and warming. Beautiful. You can see the density in the glass.
Kind of cedar, right, as well. Kind of cedar cigar box. And on the palate, I mean, I definitely get the tannin, right? And the Bordeaux varieties, they do tend to have sort of significant tannin.
Absolutely.
But freshness as well, because also, even though it's not a cool region, it's not really a hot region either. And they actually have to contend with a lot of difficulty during harvest sometimes, right? Or during the whole growing season.
Absolutely.
Which is one of the reasons why they blend. Because it's delicious, certainly.
Absolutely.
But also because sometimes one variety might have a difficult year, another one has a better year, and so they actually have the flexibility to blend those different grape varieties together.
Exactly. To put it in reference, in places like Napa, we're very lucky that we can do a single vineyard, single varietal, Cabernet, if you will.
Yes.
But there, as you mentioned, the struggle it's a constant thing. Whether you didn't ripe properly, or the fruit was molded, or all these things. So that component really, and to achieve consistency as a producing chateau year after year, hats off to a lot of the producers.
We talked about the vintage right at the beginning, but I just want to bring it up again because I have to say this is a delicious glass of wine.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
It really stands tall.
Yeah.
Grace de Dieu, meaning the grace of God. Cistercian monks were involved in the chateau early on. And so a lot of relevance in terms of historical and religious and all these things, but beautiful wine. At the end of the day, it really...
And what would Grandma pair this with?
Oh my God. I mean, I don't know, but you start getting into like a bavette or like a flank steak with like an easy marinade, grill. Don't think about it too much. Slice it thin, put a little fleur de sal and fresh cracked pepper in.
I think, with Bordeaux, it has tannin, so I think it's easy to think about red meat, but I think simple roasted chicken, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Roasted chicken with this, call it a day. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
beautiful wine.
Let's go roasted chicken.
Let's do this.